Well, hello, friend. This is Mike Bechtle, the author of The People Pleaser's Guide to Loving Others Without Losing Yourself. I've been a people pleaser for most of my life, and I've discovered that a lot of other ministry leaders are as well, but a lot of times they don't even realize it. Now, it's tricky because we really want to serve other people and invest in their lives. That's not a bad thing. It's biblical, and it's usually part of the heart of a servant leader. We want to help people. We want to make a difference. When that happens, people often express how grateful they are for us helping them. It's really making a difference. And, it feels good to hear that. It makes us want to do it more, right? Well, years ago, my wife and I served as mentors in a group of young married couples at our church. And most of them were newlyweds, and they were struggling with the normal issues like relationships with in-laws and learning to live with somebody whose habits are different than theirs, things like that. Then they started having babies, and they needed help with the challenges that come with that journey. And it was rewarding. And we got a lot of positive feedback from that group because we really were helping them. They met every Sunday morning as an adult fellowship class at our church, and I would do the teaching about half of the time. And sometimes I would feel good about how the lesson went. Sometimes I didn't. It wasn't as rewarding as meeting individual couples in our home because there wasn't nearly as much response to the teaching. I mean, they'd sit there without much facial expression sometimes, and they didn't take the initiative to interact very much. If they didn't laugh at my jokes, well, that was the worst, obviously. And they didn't come up afterwards a lot of times to say anything positive about my teaching. So I realized that they were just not nearly as committed to my happiness as I was. Well, I found myself trying to do things to get more response, but I realized that it wasn't because I really wanted to help them. I just wanted to feel better about myself and what I was doing. I figured that I had to really step it up so they would like me. In other words, I had switched from servant leadership to people pleasing. It's a really fine line between serving people for their benefit versus serving for our benefit. The bottom line is that I think it really comes down to motive. Why am I doing this? You may be struggling with the same thing. How do you know what your motives really are for what you do? Well, here's one simple question that I had to ask myself, that if I was honest, it would tell me the answer. And this might be helpful for you. Did I really want to serve other people? Or did I just want to be seen as someone who serves other people? Well, that was a game changer in helping me find out what my real motives were. And it's a question I still ask myself pretty often. Is my leadership for their benefit, or is it for mine? What about you? What's the driving force behind your role in leading others? What feels better, having people notice and talk about what a great leader you are, or having them tell you how their life is different because of your investment? It's a fine line because we should feel value in serving others. We're doing what God has called us to do using the unique gifts and temperament He designed us with. One thing I found helpful is to remind myself that if something I do helps someone, it's really God who is doing it through me. We're just the vessel for Him to work through. When I'm having dinner, I'm focused on the wonderful food, not on how great that spoon is that put it on my plate. Well, if I thought about it, I'd probably realize the importance of the spoon because without it, there wouldn't be any food on my plate. So when I'm serving others, the focus is on what God is doing in that person's life. If they express gratefulness or praise, I've learned to accept it because it means that God is using me as a vessel to do something amazing in that person's life. And I get to be part of that. If I don't get any gratefulness or praise, it's okay, but I have to remind myself that it's okay. In that case, it's God who's saying, good job, well done, thanks. So how do you know when you're doing it right? Well, when you're more excited about the person growing than what anybody says about you. If you feel unappreciated, use that as a trigger to stop and check those motives. Having confidence isn't the same as being arrogant. Confidence is about having security in who you really are, not in what others think of you. It means you don't have to pretend to be something you're not. It means you're seeing yourself accurately and you're accepting it, even celebrating it. It's celebrating the fact that you're God's masterpiece and He's the one that's using you. So check your motives often. When you're feeling unappreciated, use that as a trigger to see where your focus is. When you can find your true confidence on the inside, you'll find the freedom to serve others on the outside. It'll be about them, not about you. You'll be able to care deeply with the best motives ever. So enjoy the journey.